Fellow Liberians, as we all have entered this year 2023, we have to stand strong in building our country's economy. In doing this, we need to focus on agriculture by going back to the soil, which will help us grow our food, that will help us sustain ourselves. It is often said, and I quote, there's only one thing that can bring our country down and also has the potential of giving our country its bright color. Our dependence on foreign countries for food and energy have led us to be spectators of our country's economy, knowing that agriculture is the backbone of our country's economy. Fellow citizens, I argue you all join the ABBA Organic Farm Liberia Farmers Union every Saturday and Sunday from 7 to 8:30 p.m. on Africa 24 Online TV with their host, Ma Abba A. Anderson, the CEO and founder of ABBA Organic Farm Liberia Farmers Union. For our live educative section under the topic, let's educate our farmers.
To you all watching me across the world. This is the ABBA Organic Farm Liberia Farmers Union live broadcast tonight, and I'm so glad to be part of tonight's discussion. Your usual host is Madam Abba A. Anderson, and tonight we are just going to be a bit brief because of time. We are very sorry to be coming up a little too late, but however, these are credible informations that we like to spread out to our viewer communities, especially with all that is going around. We believe that creating awareness will enlarge in the mind of our people and then also help us to overcome a lot of doubts that we have been faced with. So if you are celebrating your birthday, we like to say a happy and a warm birthday to you wherever you are. If also you have lost someone in your entire community or your life or wherever places that you feel hurt or so on, we want to say we stand with you. We stand with you in whatever situation you find yourself. It's not an easy thing, but we have to. Life goes on, but it's not easy to go on. So now I'd like you to kind of share this live broadcast. Like I said, it's just going to be a brief one, but also very, very informative live. As we all know, the ABBA Organic Farm Liberia Farmers Union stress on going back to solve some problems, encouraging worldwide food production, inspiring potential farmers. But before we can go to capture the mindset of the world, we have to start with what we have and where we began. So our beginning now focuses on where we are. Where we are in terms of our location is in West Africa, Liberia. And we are focusing on spreading more than Liberia. Because if you want to expand in life, you also have the vision of expanding in territories. That helps you advance. So we are looking at a global empowerment program focusing on the strengthening of African food production. But it's on the way. But what drew me closer tonight and want to talk about is where we are, Liberia. And what is some of the reasons why we are keen on the election outcome? Before we can be able to expand in any form and in any area, we must first seek peace. And Liberia is situated in a condition that may not go the way things should go if only we do not talk about doubts or handle doubts or be able to spark that. So these are things that will, help us to progress. I'm sorry tonight, I'm having a little bit of headache. It's like I want to calm down. But however, it's not something that will stop this broadcast. If you might have followed me a few days back, I started by stressing on the election outcome. And why this election outcome becomes one of my major topics within this short time is that we depend on the result to now be able to physical work. So in order for us to do any physical work, we must first seek the peace for the nation. So tonight, I want to just remind us where we came from. Why am I still bringing out this? Few days back, I was able to say to you that looking at the percentage outcome of the election, it stands for me a red flag. Because yes, one or two candidates will be 0.5% or 0.2% ahead of the race. But we are looking at the overall election victory outcome. And in terms of making one person a leader, that person should own the percentage of 50.1%. That is 50.1% in the general overall of the 100% votes. But looking at the outcomes that we receive in terms of the percentage that comes through and the both parties that are in high position, the race spreads a red flag. And we are nearly there. We are nearly there. But what prompts me most to be here to be talking about this is that we are from an economy that is draining. And every time we make mistakes, we, the citizen, pay a high price. Some of you may not want to hear what I'm saying now, but it will make sense as time progresses. Many times, we do not see what is ahead, we see what is now. But what is ahead for me is the most important thing, because what is ahead, if you do not have a plan to tackle it, then you will start to have the impact as of now that will lead to the outcome of later. So the election has exhausted a lot of resources, and these resources could have been put into our economy, and then we will be talking about employment increase. But as it stands, we are still at the same number. Percentage-wise, we are going nowhere in terms of employment. And there are many other sectors that have been heavily hit. And all of these sectors, still focuses on the same thing. But what is more worrying is that if we are going in for a second round, that means we are going to be using resources as well. So those resources are resources from the very economy that we claim is a broken economy. My own suggestion, and I want you that is following me to share, my own suggestion is that we should have a recount. There are so many factors that lead me to question the outcome of the results. There are so many factors for which the results cannot mount up to be a reality. We cannot have over 100,000 people in that country that we have that amount of voter errors and we sweep it under our feet. We are not talking about 500 here. We are talking about 100,000s plus. So we are looking at a huge amount of people. That is one aspect. Given the time factor and looking at the remote workforce, it tells me there is a tendency that people might make mistakes. Because one, they needed to do that vote count and manually. That's the word, that's the thing. They are doing it manually. And because it has been done manually within a time factor, there is something called pressure. And because of the pressure to deliver on time, it also might lead to mistakes. I am not saying one particular party have won the election. But all I'm saying, there is a need for us to recount rather than for us to be talking about going into a second round. A second round might cost us more than we can recount. Matter of fact, we can have an online recounting system where we have people that will be filing those counts. As far as we're concerned, almost 90% or 90% plus of those voters tally sheets have already come in to the election commission. So if it is already at the election commission, that will not take us more time to be able to recount them. And I want us to look at this. Look at the cost of us going into a second round and the cost of us employing few more people to be part of the counting process where we are talking about accountability here, transparency. I think a recount for me takes the whole shield out, the whole doubts out. Because this recount will give us the ability to see where our mistakes are. And every party will be able to agree that yes, indeed, this is true. Because when we are looking about transparency here, and we owe it to our nation, we must be able to look at the costs involved into us leading this decision by not being able to be well transparent. There are more doubts on the different ballot papers. Some people claim that the ballot papers, the number does not mount up with the number from the NDC. Fine. And I will not say this person is lying or that person is lying. All it takes is that we can then, all right, we can then order for the first time in Liberia a transparent election. And this transparent election will now allow the press and all other party representatives to be within the NEC office where they will be carrying this counting live. This will help the situation. And not only that it will help the situation, this will also be able to minimize our income, our total spending when it comes to election. Because besides election, there are more spending ahead of us. With the letter that is inside of the covers that we are yet to identify how much is there for a reserve or there is nothing yet there for a reserve, we still do not know. So what we do need now, in order for us to start sending people to go and do a re-election, round two, and this and that, I mean, these are just all years ago stories. Now we are talking And in this DNA, we still want to have the same method we had 1960. We still want to bring it back in. I think, and I want to be able to just say that it is from my own thinking. But I urge opposition. I urge the president's office. I urge other party leaders to just heal to this information I'm giving out. Because being able to spend for for re-election will cost us more. The re-election will cost us more. And re-election will create so much inequalities, and then we will not have more doubts coming up. So my own thinking on this is to just have those ballot boxes recounted with other media forces being there, or even if you select few media that you want them to cover it, they can cover it. Everybody now has opportunity to be involved because this is about the people. One group of people cannot just make the decision and let it be. We must involve the public, and the public must have a say. So in order to have a transparent count, I would suggest, and I would suggest that we have a voter recount. It will cost us less, but then in that voter recount, we will be able to select the elected president by the will and pleasure of the Liberian. So if you have been following me and been sharing my video, I want you to help me and share this part of it as well, because we need to bring these little clues out. Maybe somebody is not thinking about it. But when I look at the economy from my point of view, I think the economy need to be maintained. And because the economy do need to be maintained, we need to then figure out that our spending should not go beyond our earning. As it stands, there are not much things doing in the last couple of days that will give us a revenue, that will generate a huge revenue to even cope with upcoming payments to our normal how will we say, our normal planning or our normal kind of spending. So those spending that I'm talking about employment, our employee payment. I'm talking about revenue that will be able to expand projects and other things. So in order for us to then go and use that money in the name of we are going for a second round election, I think it's best for a voter recount. And if we do have this voter recount with a live broadcast, it will not just only make us transparent, but it will show the power of leadership when it comes to transparency. It will then breathe a new air in the atmosphere, because right now the air is heated with so much doubts, and so many people do not yet accept the total outcome. So why don't we just take it to another level by inviting the world into knowing the total amount, where there will be no doubts anymore. Whoever that will win becomes the winner. We cannot continue to use our resources endlessly for things that could be tackled without a hailing fees. Going back to run for a new election will not just be easy. It means it involves time, it involves process, and it involves capital. And those capital comes from who? It comes from taxpayers. And if taxpayers are not earning that much, that means that we are rushing into our reserve. And if our reserve is being used, it must be used for the right purposes. So my own analysis on the entire electoral process is that we should have a voter recount rather than to go out for a second round election. If you have been following and been sharing, I'd like to say thank you. Join me tomorrow, same time. I will be here and bringing you another edition of the Abba Organic Farm Liberia Farmers Union. God bless you and have a pleasant good night.
Fellow Liberians, as we all have entered this year 2023, we have to stand strong in building our country's economy. In doing this, we need to focus on agriculture by going back to the soil, which will help us grow our food, that will help us sustain ourselves. It is often said, and I quote, "There's only one thing that can bring our country down and also has the potential of giving our country its bright color. Our dependence on foreign countries for food and energy have led us to be spectators of our country's economy, knowing that agriculture is the backbone of our country's economy. Fellow citizens, I argue you all join the Abba Organic Farm Liberia Farmers Union every Saturday and Sunday from 7 to 8:30 p.m. on Africa 24 Online TV with their host, Ma Abba A. Anderson, the CEO and founder of Abba Organic Farm Liberia Farmers Union. For our live educative section under the topic, let's educate our farmers.